Hello everybody, I'm Steve, and welcome back to Star Realms. A new update was dropped on June 10th. This one actually slipped through the cracks a little bit. I've been taking some time off for medical reasons, and I'll explain that in the next Surviving Mars video that'll be coming out. If I do have anything right this weekend, because I'm recording this on Saturday, June 19th, that Surviving Mars video will be out tomorrow on the 21st. This video should be going up online on Sunday the 20th. But let's go ahead, and this video we're going to be looking primarily at the new update, the command decks, and what the command decks entail. You saw me open the physical packages of these back in 2018, I want to say. I'm pretty sure it was 2018, so I was still living in my apartment with my girlfriend at the time, now my wife. Let's go ahead, we'll go into the how to play. And I do want to, actually, before we even do that, the store with this. This game's getting expensive. I'm going to fully say that. You have the base set, the expansions, bases, battleships, events, heroes, fleets and fortresses, colony wars, cosmic gambit, command, united heroes, assault, missions, frontiers, stellar allies, frontier events, frontier promos, and now the command decks. This game, I think, is close to $50 if you buy everything. On either Steam, on the iOS store, on the Android store. This game's starting to get up there, and if you also have the physical copies, you're investing quite a bit into this game. So just something to keep in mind if you're thinking about picking up this game for the first time, if you're watching this series, like, this game seems like a fun one to play. Know that I have purchased all of this stuff twice, actually, but I'm also now thinking that, hey, this is a tax write-off because I'm doing this for my channel. We're going to go into the card gallery. We're going to go straight from the core set past all the other options down to the command decks. You know that all of these say 0, and I'll explain why as we go through it. So this one is Alignment Ingenuity. This is, I believe, Star Empire and Machine Cult. It's been a while. Whenever you use the scrap ability of a ship or base, you may draw a card, then discard a card. So if you scrap something early, you can cycle something out. Alliance Procurement, Star Empire, and Trade Federation. Once per turn, you may gain 2 trade or put the next ship or base you require this turn on top of your deck. If you activate this early and have really good card play, you can actually get that thing right into play really early on. I've done a couple of games just to get a feel for how the deck plays, and I was playing as the Alliance, and this one is quite fun. This is the Assault Shard. This is an unaligned ship. I'm still trying to figure out what this is, and hopefully we're going to figure that out together. You do see the LF on the bottom right, and this says Lost Fleet. And I think that's going to come into play as well. This is the Cargo Boat, a Trade Federation ship. I love the design on this thing. 2 trade, and if you have the ally ability, it also gives you 2 authority. Timely deliveries bring predictable profits. That almost sounds like a rule of acquisition. The Cluster Scout. This one looks like a Union, I want to say. Union or Pact. 1 trade, Blob ally ability. 1 attack, you may scrap a card in the trade row. Cluster Viper. That's Machine Cult and Blob combination, I believe. 2 attack, Blob ability gives you an extra attack on that. Coalition Efficiency. This is Trade Federation and Machine Cult. Once per turn, you may return a card scrapped this turn from hand or discard pile to gain 5 authority. Wow. That's pretty good. Command Shard is just 1 trade. You may treat this card as having any name. You may treat this card as having any name when using the ability. I have not seen this ability pop up yet. We're going to learn about this as we go through it. This is a Lost Fleet vessel there. Diplomatic Shuttle. This is Alliance and Trade Federation. 1 authority or 5. 1 trade or 5 authority. Today's been a long week, folks. Escort Vipers. 1 attack. Trade Federation gives it an extra 1 trade. Federation Scout. 1 trade. Allied ability. The next Trade Federation card you acquire this turn costs 1 less. This is super good if you're trying to pick up a command ship, if you're trying to pick up something really expensive. Boom, this is the one you want to get your hands on. The Frontier Tug. 2 trade, shuffle the next base you acquire this turn into your deck. I did not see the Frontier Tug during my playthroughs on my just getting the vibe for everything. The Imperial Scout. 1 trade, 2 attack if there's another Star Empire ship in play. The Imperial Talon. Yes, this thing does look like something out of Star Wars. I think it also looks a little bit something out of Wing Commander, out of the fighters in that game. If you don't remember Wing Commander, oh man, that game was so fun. 2 attack, also get another 2. She's quick and has powerful guns, but her armor is, well, don't get hit. Reminds you a little bit of a TIE fighter as well. So a lot of inspirations being drawn from other IPs on that one, and I do enjoy it. It's a nice little homage there. Imperial Viper. 1 attack, and you may discard a card if you do draw a card. I'm also fiddling with my microphone just a little bit to get the audio levels just right for me. Jockum's Grand Design, I'm mispronouncing that, and I apologize. This is a gambit that one of the fleet commanders has. Activates all the allied abilities just one time over. Put a card from your discard pile into your hand. You have to scrap it to get this one into play. The Laser Drone. This is kind of cool. I like this design too. 2 attack, but you can get up to 5 attack if you're going with a heavy Machine Cult deck. Les Foray. This one activates Star Empire and Machine Cult. You may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile if you do draw a card, but you got to scrap this one to get that to play. McCrady's Maneuver. Now this is Union, I believe. 5 attack, Blob, and Star Empire abilities activate. Draw a card, but you have to scrap it for that. Nandi's Onslaught. This is Alliance, excuse me. Draw 2 cards, and you and your each opponent discard a card. The reason it says each in this is you can actually play with multiple folks. I'm just playing with 2-player game. But I believe you can actually do like 4 players if you just add one more deck, one more Star Empire deck core set or Colony War set to the game that you're playing. Newberg's Game. This is Pact. I'm going to get these right eventually. 3 attack, 4 authority, Blob, and Trade Federation abilities activate. Draw a card. Pact Domination. So this is... I think, yeah, so these two are both Pact. Newberg and Pact are the same thing. Each turn, the first time you gain authority, also gain 3 attack. This one does not scrap, so this is in play the entire time. If you're playing as a Pact deck where you're doing a lot of Trade Federation, a lot of Union, or a lot of Blob, excuse me, this is going to get you a lot of attack and it's going to whittle down your opponent very quickly. The Protopod, 2 trade, gets you an extra 1 attack if you got another Blob unit in play. Federation Xenobiologists theorize they are immature trade pods. Oh, that's nice. Trade pods are really good if you pick them up too. One of my favorite ships in the game, just because you get a ton of attack or a ton of trade for very little cost, and also you can pick up some attack as well. This is the Ranger, an unaligned ship that gives you a choice of either 1 trade or 2 attack. The Recon Shard, 1 trade, but also can give you 5 authority. I believe this is the unaligned allied ability here. I'm starting to think, going through this is what we're looking at on this. The Ripper, 3 attack. A few things are more terrifying than the sound they make tearing into your ship's hull. Considering they are some ugly, ugly things, I think that would be pretty horrifying to see as well. You get the Salvage Drone for the Machine Cult, 1 trade, or scrap a card in your hand or discard pile. The Salvage Shard, hey look, looks a little bit like this guy. A little different though. 1 trade and the ability scrap a card in your hand or discard pile. The Scout Bot, 1 trade, choose a card of 2 or less in your discard pile and put on top of your deck. That's kind of cool, especially if you pick up a real cheap card that can, let you draw up. Maybe like a Corvette for the Star Empire. Put that on top of your deck, draw it up, draw again. There you go. Splinter Tech. Whenever you use okay, this is definitely Lost Fleet ability, choose a faction. You count as having a card of that faction in play this turn. That's some really nice design there as well. The Stellar Falcon of the Star Empire gives us 2 attack. Note, there's no cost on any of these because they're not in the deck. And I'll go into that here in just a moment. Target opponent discards a card when their allied abilities are activated. Oh, look, it's Karibo in space. Swarmlings, blob ships, 2 attack, allied ability, an extra 1 attack. You may scrap a card in the trade row. Transport shards give you 1 trade, and also the ability draw a card, then discard a card. The Tribute Transport, 2 trade, or draw a card, then discard a card. Very helpful if you want to get some junk out of your deck or out of your hand. Union Blitz, this one is in play at all times. Every time you play a Blob card, you get an extra attack. Every time you play a Star Empire card, you get an extra 1 attack. So if you're going heavy on this, or you have a Union card that has both abilities, boom, 2 extra attack every turn. Unity Warcraft. Your bases get +1 defense, your opponent's bases get -1 defense. I do like this card. I haven't gone up against it yet, but just by reading this one, I'm going to enjoy having that on my side. Loathe having it going against me. Vulcan's Enterprise, flip this gambit over and put it into play as a base. Okay, I can't flip it over. Maybe I can see what the other side of it is? We'll see that eventually, I think. The Viper Bot, the unaligned ship, gives you 2 attack, but if you have Machine Cult, if you scrapped a card from your hand or discard pile this turn, gain 3 attack. So very helpful if you're thinning out your deck there. Walsh's Stratagem, 2 trade if you scrap it. Also triggers Machine Cult and Blob abilities. Put the next base you acquire this turn directly into play. Love those types of cards. The Welder Drone gives you either 2 trade or 2 attack. The Lost Dreadnought. Oh man, this thing is a beaut. 8 cost. So this one you actually have to try to get in the trade row, and I'll explain that also in a second. Draw 2 cards. Lost Dreadnought has all factions. The Lost Fleet survived centuries of isolation by salvaging tech from long-dead alien civilizations. The Mech Battleship, and you're seeing the costs now showing up, and I'm going to show you the commanders here in this video. You may scrap up to 2 cards from your hand or discard pile, draw cards equal to the number of cards scrapped this way, then discard an equal number of cards. So my understanding of this is, scrap 2 cards, so let's say your discard pile. Draw 2 cards, then you discard 2 cards out of your hand. If you scrap them both out of your hand, it's kind of a zero sum. If you get another Machine Cult, or if you get another mech unit, 6 extra attack for them. The Mech Command Ship. I'm loving the artwork in this one. The artwork in the command deck is just phenomenal, and I've got to get my hats off to the artists on this one. You may scrap up the 2 cards from your hand or discard pile, gain 3 authority for each card scrapped this way. Another Machine Cult Trade Federation ship, draw a card, you may destroy target base. The Mech Worm, we saw this in Walsh's Stratagem, his card. You may scrap up the 2 cards from your hand or discard pile, gain 4 attack for each card scrapped in this way, and you can draw a card if you have the ally ability active. The Meganaut, this one I know is the Union. This one I remember very well. The Union, the Pact, the Alliance, the Coalition, they're starting to blur together a little for me. 7 attack, draw a card just for playing this one, and draw a card if you get another Union vessel out. You can scrap it to get 6 more attack, so you can deal out 13 and draw 2 cards, but it's going to be a one-time use if you go that route. The Super Carrier, again, beautiful artwork. You may acquire a ship for free and put it into your hand. Very good if there's like a command ship out there. Another one of those ships we just saw. Put that out there as well. And you can also, of course, draw a card. And the Super Freighter. This is the Alliance one. 4 trade, draw 2 cards, and the ally ability lets you draw another card. Very quick if you want to get the big cards, and especially if you thinned out your deck and you're just playing with super high power cards, things that could bulk up your authority, put more bases into play, the Super Freighter, I think, is the way to go for it. Now, before we go into the campaign, we're actually going to go into the AI's part of this, and this is all we have available, but I'm going to show you the command decks at this point. So you have Divine Admiral Lee, Fleet Director Nandi, High Director Vulcan, Overlord Newberg, Bio-Lord Walsh, Hive Admiral McCready, and High Admiral Joachim. I'm not sure. I'm mispronouncing it. I apologize. So each of these you're seeing on the bottom left, you see a different number. You have 6, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 7. That's actually the starting size of your hand, and you can play as these commanders. Each of these numbers, of course, just tells you how much authority they start with. But let's actually go into Divine Admiral Lee when playing with the alignment. That's what it was. Command deck, Legendary Commander of the Alignment. While you will be able to acquire and play cards of any faction, your starting deck and gambits work well with Star Empire and Machine Cult cards. Hand size of 6, start with 64. The Mech Battleship gets shuffled into the trade deck, which means it's available for either player. The Alignment Ingenuity, which you already saw, what you did draw up, and also Admiral Leia's Foray. This is her starting deck that you're seeing right here, except, of course, the Mech Battleship. That's in the deck itself. You have the Imperial Talon, the Salvage Drone, the Viper, the Ranger, all the scout, or only 4 scouts. You got the Scout Bot, the Stellar Falcon, swapped out for a Viper, and a Welder Drone. Fleet Director Nandi, this is the one I actually played with, and actually got beat because I was playing a hard commander on that. One thing I've noticed with this new update, it doesn't scroll you back up to the top. So if you play as her, the Super Freighter goes into the deck. Cargo Boat, Diplomatic Shuttle, Federation Scout, Viper, Ranger, Scout, 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 Stellar Falcon, Tribute Transport, Viper. Oh, wait. Just to make things nice and neat, let's just scroll back up before we go into High Director Vulcan. The Mech Command Ship gets shuffled in when you're going against her or playing as her. Cargo Boat, Scout, Tug, Laser Drone, Ranger, Salvage Drone, Scout, 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 Viper. Oh! Coalition Stronghold. This is new. Mech Command Ship. This one was not there. Oh, is this the one that, flip this gambit over and put it into play as a base. That's what it is. So this is the one that we couldn't flip over earlier, the Coalition Stronghold. Ooh, wow. This, oof. I'm not a fan of that. If this base would leave play, scrap it instead. 2 attack or 2 authority. I think you almost use that like right toward the end of the game. Like, oh, I need a last little bit of authority. I need the last little bit of attack. That's when I think you'd want to play that. Other than that, I don't know about that one. Overlord Newberg of the Pact. You get the Super Carrier in the deck. He's got his Cluster Scout, Diplomatic Shuttle, Escort Viper, Tug, Ranger Ripper, Scout, Swarmling, and Viper as his starting deck. You're starting to get a feel for how, hopefully at this point, how each of these ones are going to play. If you're going against Biolord Walsh or playing as Walsh, the Mech Worm goes into your deck. He's got his Unity Warcraft. Ooh, I'm not a fan of Walsh because he's really, really powerful, and this is what you'd be going against if you're going against him. Walsh's Stratagem, of course, then you have Cluster Viper, Drone, Protopod, Ranger, Scout Bot, Swarmling Viper, Welder Drone. Starting with 70, I think he's one of the harder ones. He'd probably be one of the harder ones to beat, especially if you're going blob heavy. And you've seen this with me in my playthroughs. Blob units are very tough to kill. Blob heavy decks are very hard, I think, to beat. I think the best way to do it is almost to go with alignment or alliance or even pact. Just fire with fire for that. Hive Admiral Crady puts the Meganaut in the deck, and he's got the Talon, the Viper, the Scout, Protopod, Ranger, Ripper, the standard 4 Scouts, Viper, and also a Tribute Transport. Lastly, the Lost Fleet Commander, High Admiral Joachim, Bop'em Sock'em, Bop'em Sock'em Robots, whatever that thing is called. The little robot toy that we had, the little boxing toys. That's him. Poppet. That's what it's going to call him. Admiral Poppet now. The Lost Dreadnought goes into the deck. He's got Assault Shards, which can get you a lot of attack points, mind you. Command Shards. And we treat this card as having any name when having that ability. Oh, here we go. If one of your cards has a Splinter ability, holy crap, we found it. You may use that ability by putting that card and 2 other cards of the same name into the discard pile. Ha ha ha. Though 3 cards are going into the discard pile, you only gain the effect of that Splinter ability once. Example, if you activate the Assault Shard Splinter ability, 1, 2, 3, you would discard 3 Assault Shards from play and gain 4 attack. So, with the Command Shards, these 2 here, they're essentially wild cards. 3 cards of the same name. So you can do an Assault Shard and 2 Command Shards, 2 and 1, or you can do it with the Recon Shards to get you extra authority. Okay, this is starting to make sense now that I'm reading this, because the Splinter abilities, as far as I saw in going through the decks and whatnot, I was not seeing that. So you get the trade and all that stuff. You can discard them to get those extra abilities. So you start with 7 cards and 72 authority. When first playing, you get a 4-card starting hand. So this one you actually probably would be able to build up pretty quick. And of course, if you want to play as a random, I'll just keep it on Fleet Director Nani, because that's how I usually like to play. And I played against Admiral Lei, and she just wiped the floor with me on medium, playing on this set. So we've got a base idea of how the command deck structure is going to work. There are 7 missions now in the Legendary Commanders set, and you saw that right there. That you can actually pick which commander you want to use. But also note that these achievements are all mutually exclusive. You cannot get all 3 at the same time. And we're going to do this in the next video. But I think I'm going to wrap it up for here. I've been going for almost 20 minutes. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and all the videos that come out on this channel. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Of course, I already said that. It's been a long week. It's been a while since I've been away. I'm a little rusty, it feels like. But tune in for the next Star Realms video. We're going to jump into Chapter 22. I'm going to find a deck that works really well for me, and we're going to work our way through this campaign together.